Hi, it's Celeste Cuffey here of Life Empowered Consulting Services, where our mission is to reach, empower, and motivate others to access and utilize their God-given talents and skills, building better families, companies, and communities worldwide. One of the things that's most important with fulfilling that mission is the ability to successfully deal with distractions. Now, I will be the first to say that there are distractions in almost everything that we do, everywhere that we go. You go to the grocery store for 3 specific things, you walk out with 20 things, for example. You go into your email to look for specific correspondence and you start looking at other correspondence that has come out to you. Those are all distractions. I start my day with a to-do list. Maybe you do the same and you have your list of the top 10 things that you want to accomplish in your day. However, through the day, 10 more things have now hit your plate and now you're working to address those things rather than the things that were on your list in the first place. Distractions. How do you deal with distractions? Well, today I'm so glad that I am here to talk to you and share with you some of the strategies that I've done, that I've implemented to help me deal with distractions. Now, I also want to say that oftentimes we think that we are not distracted. We are simply multitasking when we are doing several things at one time. We are task switching. We're going from one thing to another, back to another thing, especially in an office environment. We're focusing on a assignment or a task that we have to do. However, one of our colleagues walks up to our desk with a question, so we're answering that question. We're going back to the task in front of us, and then our phone rings, and so then we deal with the phone and we answer that question. Then we go back again to the task that is in front of us. And there was a time that we believed that it was so, that we were being very productive. However, studies now show that we can lose up to 40% of our productivity when we are trying or attempting, or when we are multitasking. In addition to that, another glaring example that really stood out to me was texting while driving. Now, we already know that texting while driving can definitely be a distraction, but according to the National Transportation Safety Board, texting while driving actually puts you in a place where you are equivalent to driving with a blood alcohol level of 3 times the legal limit. Perfectly sober, texting while driving, but the distraction is so strong that you are now in alignment with being a drunk driver who is 3 times the legal limit. That is quite an impact to being distracted. So again, today I want to share with you some strategies that I've used, and I know that you will find them beneficial as well in how you are able to manage the distractions. One of the things that I like to do is what they call batch processing or batching. So for example, if we're talking about your email throughout the day, don't respond to the email as they come. Choose specific times out of the day in which you will address email. First thing in the morning, maybe from 8 to 9, 8 to 8:30, and then maybe from 12 to 1 or something like that. So that way you are focused on that particular batch of activity for a specific time frame, and then you can focus. The next thing that I'd like to suggest is something called focused time. So that means that if you are working on a project, you have now said between 9 and 10, I am going to work on this project and this project alone. That will also increase your productivity and also minimize your distractions. The other thing that I'd like to share with you is something called the 80-20 rule. I often reference it consistently, so I know you're familiar with it. But basically, the 80-20 rule says that you are going to get 80% of your value from 20% of the things that you have to accomplish in your day. As I forestated, I do a to-do list. I encourage you to do the same. And then look at those things that will provide you the most amount of value. That will help you with your prioritizing. So what are those things that you have to accomplish? If you have 10 things on your to-do list for the day, look at the things that are going to provide you with the most value and get those things done first. Okay? So that's what you want to do. The other thing that I want to share with you, and I think this is probably most important, is give you some time first. Now, I have been guilty of getting up first thing in the morning when the alarm goes off, before I'm even out the bed, checking my email, seeing who's reached out to me, seeing what I need to deal with for the day. I am encouraging you to not do that. When your alarm goes off in the morning, get up, spend that first hour with you, then deal with the rest of the world. Spend the first hour of the morning with you, being grateful, relaxing, thinking about what you have to do, what's important to you to accomplish in the course of the day, making sure that you've had breakfast, you've exercised, you've done everything that you just spend an hour of time with you before you start working on dealing with everything else, before you watch the news, before you check your email, before you listen to your voicemail, before you open social media. Spend some time with you. And so those are the strategies that I want to share with you on today in dealing with distractions. Now, let me also say that you have to deal with them, right? Once you've gone through that priority list, you figure out what things are important, what things you must address today. And there's actually a quadrant, and you might go through that list or create that quadrant to say what's important, what's urgent, and what things you need to address. From there, you may find that there are things that you don't need to touch at all. And then in addition to that, you might find things that you need to touch just later on. And so when there are things that have to be addressed, do not think, although that they are a distraction to you at this moment, they do not have to be addressed. We do have to address things, but it's when we can give our best to it. It's when we can prioritize and focus, and we can give our full attention. And as a result of doing that, we will maximize our productivity. So I just wanted to share those things with you today on minimizing your distractions. Try batch processing. Use the 80-20 rule. Those two things, at 20% of things that will provide you the most value. Do those things. Spend time with yourself first thing in the morning. And I've kind of mentioned it a couple of times, your to-do list, your planning. Make sure you do that, and you will see your productivity increase tremendously. So thank you so much for your time. I just want you to know that it is important that you minimize distractions so that you can achieve your goals. And do remember to live life empowered. Have an amazing day. Goodbye.